What is everybody, it's me Metro back with another video here today. At the time of recording this is a Sunday morning, as today we're going to be doing a weekend review. We're going to be doing Raw, NXT, SmackDown, NXT, Halloween Havoc. So let's go straight into Raw. We kicked off the show with Adam Pearce coming out. I know this is Baron Corbin, but I don't have the build to figure out Adam Pearce. He basically calls out Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman after the attack last week, saying that Seth's going to have to relinquish the title and that he needs the title off of Breakker. But yeah, and then he said, show me respect. He did it, and then he said, say please. It was a bit cringy, but eventually Adam Pearce did give him respect and said please, and then Breakker gave him the title. Then moving into our World Tag Team title match, where AJ Styles and Dragon Lee took on JD McDonough and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day for the World Tag Team titles. I was actually really happy when Styles and Dragon Lee won. Yes, they did win. And then we had crazy spots like near the end when he went for the Styles Clash, but no, and then he went for a move, I forgot what it was, and then he did it again. He went for the Styles Clash, connected, and then we had the crazy bit where Dragon Lee suicide dived JD McDonough by the entrance ramp. I know this is Mayhem, not the Raw Arena, but who cares? And you could hear the sound of Dragon Lee smacking the floor. Also, by the way, guys, I'm not going to be doing any of the backstage segments in this. I'm only doing the stuff that happened out in the ring. But then we moved on to our IC title match. Dominic Mysterio faced Rusev, but Dom had the hammer once again in his boot, like where the tassels are. Rusev tried to use it, but when the ref was trying to give it to me, but I know he's missing a hand. This is my Cole referee figure. If you guys know from watching WXW, this is Cole. But he was trying to get the hammer away. Then Rusev was going to go talk to the ref, and then boom, low blow, 619, and I think a frog splash, and then he retained the IC title. Then we moved into another Intercontinental Championship match where Maxine Dupree fought Becky Lynch for the Women's IC Championship, guys. But in this, it was actually really incredible and insane, where Becky, she was like fed up because Jessica Carr, I don't really like her, but she went 8, 9, 10, and then Maxine won by a count out, not on this show, but a couple of weeks back. And then this week, Becky used the title to hit her and sort of retain it. Yeah, so then Jessica Carr DQ'd her after she hit her in the back of the head after a failed 2 attempts, I believe it was, with a title shot, and then, yeah, DQ. But then we moved into Stephanie Vaquer against Roxanne Perez. Pretty sure this wasn't for the title. Correct me in the comments down below if you watched it and if it was for the title. But Stephanie Vaquer won, and then Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, they beat up Stephanie, and then Nikki Bella came out, but then they had like a wardrobe malfunction, and then the screen went black for like a second or two, and then we move into the main event. Moving into the main event for Monday Night Raw of the 20th of October 2025, we would have a battle royal to see who would fight CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. We would have people like Otis, Akira Tozawa, I don't have their figures, so that's why they're not here. JD McDonough, Dragon Lee, AJ, Dom, Rusev, Finn, Grayson, Ivar, LA, Jimmy, Jay. But one thing I didn't like about this was how Rusev and Dom didn't even go after each other. Mostly Rusev not going after Dom because he cheated. He basically cheated, making Rusev want to use the hammer and then winning the match anyway. But yeah, lack of attention by Rusev to Dominic. But moving on into the final 3, LA Knight, Jimmy, final 4 I should say, because Dom was there as well. So it was the Usos, LA Knight and Dominic, the final 4. But basically, Jimmy was trying to eliminate LA Knight, and then Jay came up from behind, eliminated Jay and LA Knight. And then we went to the final two, Dominic and Jey Uso. Jey would chuck him out and then fight. See you book of the Saturday night main event. And then they had a little stare off and then, yeah. But Jimmy's angry, confused, upset, mad, humiliated, embarrassed, confused, and so much more. But then we're going to be moving into NXT. Okay, we're not going in any particular order, but we did have speed where Axiom did win. Then moving on, we had Hank and Tank getting attacked by Lucian Price and Bronco Nima. And then Tatum Paxley did hold the NXT Women's title while dangling off the ropes. There was a bunch of other crazy things that happened, like the stuff with Sol Ruka and Zarya, Izzy Dame. But of course, as you guys can see, I don't have a lot of women's figures what look like them. But then basically, I think moving into the main event, I know this is Alberto Del Rio. I know he's not Ricky Saints. And I know this isn't the correct NXT title because they haven't made one yet, so don't be complaining to me. But I don't have a Ricky Saints because I'm not really an AEW collector guy, and I don't even think they're doing it anymore. But he would put Trick Williams through a table. I know that was short, but let's move into SmackDown. Now we're at Friday Night SmackDown. And you might be wondering, why is there barely anything? I'm not doing backstage segments, as I said. After this will be Halloween Havoc event. Week in review will be done for this week. But I don't have a lot of women's figures, and I don't have Tama Tonga and Ray Phoenix and JC Mateo. But we will kick off the... Also, I don't have my Cody Rhodes on me right now, because if you really want to see, this is the state of my Cody Rhodes right now. Yeah, that's the state of my Cody Rhodes. I can't find the head. His leg broke off. I'm looking at getting a new Cody Rhodes, maybe an elite one. But yeah, we will kick off the show with Cody Rhodes coming out, but then he got interrupted by Drew McIntyre, who kept getting accused, and every time Drew said, "What if it was you?" Every time Drew said, it wasn't me. And then Cody would straight away interrupt him. And then he called Jimmy Uso a black sheep of the family, saying it could have been him. Could have been you, Cody. Could have been Randy. And then Jimmy would eventually come out, brawl with Drew McIntyre, and they would have a no disqualification match in the main event, what we'll get onto later on. Then we do have Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. Oh, sorry, second time I said that. JC Mateo versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Ray Phoenix, which the MFTs would win. Of course, I don't have any of their figures. I've only got Shinsuke, so I just put him laying here on the apron. Then we would have Tiffany Stratton versus, I'm pretty sure Julia, or was it Kiana James? Guys, tell me down in the comments below. But after the match, Kiana James and Julia would do a beatdown on Tiffany, which Jay did come to the save of. But then she turns heel. Guys, to be honest, I was not expecting this. I was expecting a tag match, a Saturday night main event or whatever. She turned heel, thrown her into the stairs. I've done a Tiffany Stratton, so I'm just posting Jake Hager like this. We would then have Ilya Dragunov. He's going to continue the open challenges, as Sami Zayn did say. Continue this. And he did. Aleister Black answered it. But it ended up in a DQ, because here comes Damian Priest with the giant bruise and cuts from the fireball from the Last Man Standing match a couple of weeks ago, what Aleister Black won with that fireball. Also because of Zelina Vega. He would throw him across the announce table, and it was carnage. But then the no disqualification match, Drew McIntyre, Jimmy Uso in the main event. Drew did win with a Claymore, and Jimmy did this wicked bump, one second, he got Claymored, and he did a bump like that, but an actual bump instead of really slow. There was crazy bits like a Samoan drop through a table. It was absolutely crazy. But finally, Halloween Havoc. Moving into NXT Halloween Havoc, what did happen last night? I watched it live. It was very intense, but we'll get straight into it. We started the show with Leon Slater, the X Division champion, and John Evans against this skeleton dude, and Mr. Iguana. It was a really good match. Javon Evans and Leon Slater did end up winning. I think Javon pinned Mr. Iguana, and then, not in any order, then Tatum Paxley. I know this is Lyra, but they haven't given us a Tatum Paxley figure yet. She became the new NXT Women's Champion defeating JC Jane, Saruka's like, I think his shoulder is hurt. Saruka's shoulder's hurt. Cesario defended it against Blake Monroe, which another new champion. It was absolutely incredible. Then we had the Hardys versus Dark State. This crazy bit where there's 2 ladders. And then the Dark State member moved out the way. And a swanton, down goes Jeff. But it ended up with the Hardy Boys retaining the titles. Okay, then we had our main event. Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship, which Ricky Saints did win. It was very intense, but I'm pretty sure another match happened, but I forgot what it is. So tell me down in the comments, and then I might do a short on it, explaining what happened. And as you can see, my arena's like sort of wrecked from doing this weekend review. Like the figures are missing from Mayhem. Like look at this. Like there's a bunch of crowd signs. Like half the people on Raw, they would once hold the crowd signs. But guys, it is me, Metro. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.